nothing left to lose now. Everything to prove now. Long as I'm alive, I'ma fight back. My fire never cools down. I'm about to catch fire. Yeah, I'm about to catch fire. Get ready for the new me. Get ready for the new me. Try to hold me down and I go higher. Try to put me out and I go wilder. I'm a fighter, a survivor. Stand back when I catch fire.
You're watching the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold post show here at the Haleiwa Challenger. What a day we had today. Just the second day. We've had a complete day of competition and some big Betty Lou fans hanging out downstairs. They love the big turns that she was throwing down. A very dominant performance. A surfer who has a huge future in the game. We have a lot to discuss as we set up the later rounds of competition here at Haleiwa through some rain, rainbows, and we got more sunshine this afternoon. Joe Chappelle alongside a couple of my heroes here. Barton Lynch, 88 world champ, who accomplished a lot on the North Shore, and Ross Williams, who's made a final at every stop of the Triple Crown. Barton, it was really cool to see a totally different look of Haleiwa and see the depth of some of our competitors today, because there were definitely some heats that were incredibly challenging today.
Yeah, it was tough conditions. It was sort of up and down, wasn't it? The wind squalls had come through and it'd get all unruly, and the onshore, it was kind of like a sort of side onshore wind most of the day, creating a bit of chop, and so difficult conditions, but some great performances nonetheless.
Pressure kind of changes places. The first day it's pumping. You almost want to get out of your own way and surf. And then today, a solid game plan definitely paid off, Ross.
Yeah, and that's the North Shore. That's Haleiwa in a nutshell. You know, you can't just show up and expect something. You have to be really nimble. You have to be out there, eyes wide open, sort of enter the matrix and just let everything help you and read it. Because if you have like one game plan, you're going to get sunk out here. And as you said, Barton, it was a little schizophrenic out there. We saw about 5 different days rolled up in one.
So true. Well, last heat, we saw some dominance from a local. Betty Lou is with Kaipo.
Excellent heat, 16.6. That's in the excellent range. Talk about, to me, though, the obvious home court advantage you have here, because this is your home break.
Yes, it's totally a blessing to be here at home and competing here. The last contest, I believe, here was in 2010, and it's super exciting to have it back. Thank you, WSL. But yeah, definitely having the home advantage here comes into play when it gets a little tricky.
And it was tricky today. I mean, you really had to pick out the good ones. You were able to do that with performance. Looking forward into the next round and the different personalities that Haleiwa can have, any adjustments you're going to make looking toward the next couple days of competition?
I'm just totally just going to keep my cool, you know, I'm frothing to be here, and I got a little excited in the first heat, but yeah, just going to keep the same momentum, have a smile on my face, and keep it up.
Great attitude. Big, big, big future coming up from Betty Lou Sakura Johnson. So good, they had to name her 4 times.
Yeah, that's right. It's such a good call. Kaipo, she is such a ripper, such a class act, and it's really cool. Her name has a lot of meaning. Betty Lou is her grandma's name. She was born on her grandma's birthday, so carrying that tradition. Sakura means cherry blossom, and she was born in the springtime, so her mom wanted to have, you know, something nice about the spring in Japan. It's one of the coolest names in pro surfing, and I think when you catch the first wave of your life here, and your first competitive moments are here, and now you're on the Challenger Series, you can just see that confidence oozing out of her. Barton, how are some of these hooks? They're incredible.
Yeah, it was the performance of the day for sure. The aggression and the power. And that's what you get when you grow up and spend the time here on the North Shore, Ross, isn't it? You come to days like this and they're easy. You can hot dog your way through it.
Yeah, I mean, Sakura is a really strong surfer. She did gymnastics her whole childhood, so she's got these crazy, powerful quad muscles. And, you know, whenever I'm talking to her, I'm just like, hey, just don't over froth. You have the base power moves. Make sure you just keep that traction, keep that drive. And when she does, you know, she's nearly unbeatable.
Really cool to see how comfortable she is. I mean, the North Shore community is all about backing your locals. So she's riding down the bike path, checking the sandbar, and people are stopping her going, you've got this, you've got this. And it feels like she's taken all that in stride, Barton.
Yeah, it does indeed. That young girl getting a photograph with her there is Sky Soot. She's only 10 years old and she is incredible. She'll be on this stage one day, guarantee it. Remember that little moment there.
Those are those key moments, you know, that begin the inspiration where you watch your heroes for the first time. At Ross, I bet you can remember watching your first event out here as a Grom getting inspired.
Absolutely. It's one of the very fortunate things growing up on a North Shore. I mean, I remember being 8 years old and like watching BL and Martin Potter and Tom Curran, like my all-time heroes, Mark Occhilupo, and that inspiration. Not to mention, you know, the North Shore is inspirational in terms of waves, so that's very cool. But then you have these superstars come, and it just cements like your drive and your want to be a pro surfer.
And you're always only a few steps away from greatness. When you're here, you always turn around and there's a great shaper or a photographer, or there's always someone who's great in their field not too far away from you.
Oh, that's so true. Another showcase of greatness today. Cody Young, guy that you've worked with quite a bit, and also Connor O'Leary earlier today. Special news for Connor as he was on a roll, obviously looking to re-qualify, and Cody Young, he's still building his reputation here on the North Shore as an absolute powerhouse threat. BL, what'd you think?
Yeah, powerful display. Got a really good start in that one. Held it all the way through. Difficult conditions, but made the most of it.
Certainly. And Connor, he's been on a roll lately. Just feeling the mojo after that win in France. It feels like he's certainly back, Ross.
Hey, he's just so efficient. I like that little wave right there. Zero wasted movement and beautiful surfing.
And then also back to Cody Young, a beautiful form. His wave selection was on point, and he's very humble. He knows he's got a lot he wants to work on, a lot that he wants to achieve. As we focus on the Challenger Series rankings, some big news that unfolded today. Remember, Zeke was already qualified. Big congrats to Jake Marshall once again as he's officially on tour in 2022. And Connor O'Leary, well, he didn't go anywhere. He's back. And that's the beauty of this Challenger Series. He fell off, went right into these events, and he's right back on tour to start a pipeline in January.
And rightly so. We all know he's of that level, isn't he? He's a great surfer and great in all types of conditions, but particularly on the backhand. That's a weapon.
It's sometimes you worry about a surfer that might be going through too many ups and downs, and all the early losses for Connor when he had a lot of hype to kind of kick off his return to the tour, because now he's back again.
Sure.
It feels like he's just going, no, I believe in myself. I'm not giving up, because he had to deal with all those losses and remind himself that he's still surfing at the top of his game.
Absolutely. And as you said, BL, and his backhand is so lethal. He's the kind of guy that could finish 5th in the world, and he wouldn't really blink an eye. You know, yep, that makes sense. He doesn't have a big-time sponsorship, to my knowledge, so I think also that could maybe even fuel the fire for next year. So I don't know. He's got a lot of drive right now. He's settled in. He's not like a young bloke anymore. He's got a couple years under his belt. Look out for Connor next year.
Let's start that bidding war for some space on that surfboard for Connor O'Leary. Congrats, Connor, Jake, Zeke once again back on the championship tour. More to come here on the Michelob Ultra Pure Gold Post Show. Be back with the top 5 moments after this.
Hi, I'm Sage Erickson. Today we're on the west side of Oahu and we are doing some coral restoration.
So we're not just going out and taking healthy, happy coral and then working with them. We go and collect those when they've freshly broken off but have a real low chance of survival. So then we can replant a whole bunch of small plugs that will grow into their own larger colony.
Nice.
Perfect.
Wow. There you go.
Okay, that's my little baby.
From this frag, we might slice off a bit to smooth it out, then we'll use a glue and then just glue it like that.
Okay.
We're going to take all the plugs that we generated today and we're going to go and repopulate an area that was damaged a long time ago. Reefs around the world are struggling with so many pressures from modern society. We have pollution, different runoff, global warming, but also just plastics and fishing nets.
And you know, with dying reef, there's dying fish and ecosystems and this whole holistic way of life that everything gives back to how we live. We're all one at the end of the day, as people, as animals, as nature.
These are the lawnmowers of the sea. They help keep the area clear of algae so that the coral can grow.
These are not our friends usually, as divers, let me tell you.
So it's good to get to know it, so maybe you're looking at
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really about kuleana, about responsibility. It's our responsibility to take care of the ocean. And in return, the ocean takes care of us in its own way, providing food, shelter, waves for you guys.
Sometimes too big.
Too big.
WSL Pure really does take initiative in setting up things like this, and as well as Shiseido, you know, their products are trying to make a lot more reef friendly and ocean friendly, and so it's really great to be a part of brands actually who want to help the earth and help the ocean just like I do.
I need to protect what I love to do. So coral exploration or learning about that's extremely important. To be able to give back to that and sow into later generations means a lot.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on the west side of Oahu here. The waves are firing, so we need to go now, but super fun hanging out.
Bye.
Oh, it's so cool that Lakey Peterson and Sage Erickson made the trip over to the Ko'olina on the west side to restore the reef and kind of made it their kuleana, their sacred obligation to help out and restore the coral reefs. As they were telling us, they are in jeopardy around the world, and there's ideas that a lot of them could be extinct as early as 2050. So taking a look at the coral reefs that are still alive on Oahu and replanting those pieces that have been broken off, it's really cool. I mean, reef grows so slow, maybe a half inch at most in a year. So those chunks get back onto the reef and keep that happy ecosystem alive, BL. I love the cause.
Yeah, the concept of us all being the same, you know, whether we're an animal or human, we're all a part of nature, we're all made of the same stuff. We need to respect each other and live together.
And it's really just inspiring, Ross. I know on down days with your family, it's pretty common, get a mask on, go check out that reef. It's not just beautiful, it's very sacred and very important that we get the message out there so people can make a difference.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's easy to forget just how fragile our ecosystem is, and a lot of times you got to kind of open up and look around and go, okay, how can we lend a hand? And so, you know, the folks at Kuleana, that's really cool that they're doing that. And it's the irony is it's things that sometimes we rake our skin off of is what we need and we need to protect as surfers. Not to mention sea urchins, vana, and coral. It's an evil necessity.
So true. A big good job to WSL Pure as well. Well, we've gotten to that time of the show where it's time for the top 5. And coming in at number 5, we're going to rewind the tape all the way to the first heat of the morning. From San Clemente, California, Griffin Colapinto was absolutely dangerous, along with Kalani Ball. You expect this out of Griff, and I think he's a little extra motivated that his younger brother's kind of taking the spotlight these days, BL.
He has. He's been in great form. Crosby, that two-turn combination there from Kalani Ball. Got a great rail game.
And also Griffin just super smooth, and this wasn't easy. It wasn't the same conditions Crosby had, but he definitely flexed his CT status this morning, Ross.
I like the way Griff surfs at Haleiwa. He's got that big-time type of surfing where he's ready to throw down big airs, big turns. Remember the huge reverse he did a few years ago to get that giant score? So there's good memories here for Griff.
All over the North Shore. Griffin feels like it's his second home, and he treats these waves like he's been surfing them his entire life. Coming in number 4 on the top 5, Philippa Anderson at the buzzer, going all the way to victory.
Yeah, nothing like a little buzzer beater and feeling like you're out of it, but then the door opens and you've got a chance, and you make it and take advantage of that chance, make the most of it, and squeeze your way through.
Oh, she's had such a long journey on the QS. The sister of Craig Anderson, the talented free surfer from Newcastle. Saw her at a wild card position at the CT level, and just moments like this make you smile. You know how much dedication she's had to the sport.
Absolutely, and there's so many stories like this, but this was her first score in this heat, and that was a big-time move on the outside, busting those fins free, and you like to see that big scores, big surfing.
Great job, Philippa Anderson. Coming in number 3 on the top 5, Maui boy Ian Gentile is looking lethal these past couple of days.
So much to like about this guy. Big and tall, powerful. The boards look fantastic under his feet. There's no sticker on there, so he's got a bit to prove, and the money could come in handy for a win right here.
He's such a calm human on land, and he's just been destroying in the lineup at Haleiwa, Ross.
Well, that personality, it definitely it leads into his surfing. He's just sort of chill and stands straight up, and all of a sudden, whoop-ah, and just goes into this giant move. So he's an unassuming, humble guy, but he's got some gnarly moves on him.
Coming in number 2, Sarah Wakita took control on her opener and making Pops proud, BL.
Yeah, beautiful carve down here. So stylish, so controlled. And the bottom turns, Ross, they just look so beautiful, the way she uses those arms.
Yeah, she's got the wings out, doesn't she? It's such a beautiful, like, long, arcing carve. Been watching her since she was like 6 years old, and right away you could see that she had a very natural talent that was just ready for the tour.
So smooth, every turn makes sense, a perfect style, and so much experience here at Haleiwa.
Yeah, indeed, and as Ross alluded to, she's got the pedigree, flying the flag for Japan, and we see some inspired Japanese, don't we, now after the Olympic Games, and seeing that opportunity, how big surfing can be and what you can make of this opportunity.
So great to see her in this kind of form, featuring as our number 2 on our top 5. Now to number 1, the congrats continues for Jake Marshall and Connor O'Leary, sealing their spots for 2022, Ross.
Yeah, I like the way Jake surfs. A bit of a throwback. He almost looks like a 90s surfer. He's got that little knock-kneed style. Again, sort of like Ian Gentile, unassuming, and then just goes hammer into a big section. He's not shy.
And also the comeback again, now for Connor O'Leary. I guess if you could say for the 3rd time in his career, he's back again.
Yeah, and interesting to see no sticker on the nose of his board, no sticker on the nose of Jake Marshall's board. So, you know, there's a lot to prove, and those kids who are hungry, the wins mean something. There's not a salary coming in from a company and you're not okay without it. You need the success in the events to feed and to get to the next contest, and it becomes something deeper and more important that way.
And what a way to fulfill your dreams. When Jake Marshall was in 5th grade, he's from Encinitas, he wrote a goal and a dream for himself, said, I want to qualify for the tour. And it was, you know, since then, he's been thinking about it, practicing, training, doing everything he could. And remember what happened in 2019, the devastation. He was in the mix heading into the Triple Crown that year and saw his spot just slide after sunset was over. And then his sponsor was gone, and then the whole world took a break. And he's had to sit on that for much longer than he wanted. And he turned that into a strength, Ross.
Well, it's going to be a good story, and no one's going to enjoy that story more than him and his family. So sometimes those hardships, you know, they create a really cool, like, motivational vibe that just pulls you through the rest of your career. And he's got a lot of talent on top of that, so look out.
And now we're making these announcements, BL. How are these announcements going to affect the rest of the field that are waiting for them to clinch their spots? We still have plenty of room left on tour next year.
Yeah, it just fills you with desire. You know, you see someone succeed and you just want to do it. And Jake's a really smart young man. You know, he's got a great brain on his shoulders, and that's what it's going to take to be a great competitor.
So much to look forward to, potentially first thing in the morning, as we'll have a call bright and early at 7:30. Join us on WorldSurfLeague.com. Enjoy your evening. See you bright and early. This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.